My name's Kamran. Firstly, I'd like to thank Ramadan FM, Midajul Quran, and everybody that's been involved in organizing this particular radio station. I've been involved, I use the word carefully, not involved, but I've been invited. I've been invited several times. Involved sounds a bit more onerous, as if I've done more, but unfortunately I haven't. I've just come on several times as a guest on various topics, and alhamdulillah, I am so amazed by the amount of progress and the development that I've seen at Ramadan FM, and I wanted to commend all the organizers and heartfelt, and I pray that Allah gives you strength to carry on and get stronger and stronger year on year. Moving on to one more shout out. I wanted to take this opportunity to thank Muhammad Ismail, who's made this happen for me. It's not my thing, radio hosting radio stations. I'm an estate agent for my sins, and literally I'm in deep waters here, and I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm gonna wing it, inshallah, and hopefully you guys will forgive me for any errors I make, both verbal and otherwise, not that you can see me, but nevertheless, this is what I propose to do today. I wanted to do a topic to relate into what's currently going on in London and the social problems that we are facing. Is it a social problem? But let's be honest, it's an epidemic of knife crime, and every weekend I wake up to horrific news that someone's been murdered, mindless killings, and it kind of touched me when a friend, someone quite close who I knew, not personally but knew of, and had reason to sort of meet him several times. His son got killed a few weeks ago in Walthamstow. So I thought to myself, well, me as an estate agent, what can I possibly do? What can I use this platform for to possibly help alleviate this problem with our youth? And I thought, well, let me tread on safe grounds and stick with business. I've been a businessman for 15 years, and I've got some good friends who are very prominent local businessmen who I've invited, and they've been very kind to sort of come on, and I'm honored to have them. Now, I have with me Mr. Wasim Gill, who is formerly an estate agent, or more appropriately, currently an estate agent. He's never really retired from being an estate agent. I use the term retired very carefully, and I tread carefully because I don't want to make it sound out that he's old. He's a young guy. So basically, he is now doing consultancy work. Very knowledgeable, had run his own independent estate agency, Adam Kennedy and Leighton, for 3 decades or more. MashaAllah, they did very well, and that wealth of experience and knowledge is with me in the office, in the studio today, and inshallah I will have some questions, thought-provoking questions to ask him. And if there's any listeners who have any questions, who are contemplating starting a business or anticipating starting a business, or even have some sort of long-term goal of starting a business, please do call us, email us, text us, send us a messenger pigeon, or whatever way, get your question to us, and I will ask Wasim. And equally to the right of Wasim, I have Anjem Chowdhury. I must say that is not Anjem Chowdhury, the hate preacher, but this Anjem Chowdhury is quite a very lovely chap, to be quite honest with you, a very experienced businessman, a business development manager at Goldline Cars, which is a premier, I would say, one of, in fact, am I right, is it the 5th largest in London?
5th largest in London.
Fifth largest in London, with over 500 drivers. Mashallah, it's a huge operation. amazing organization, the way it's run. I've had reason to use their services, and I have nothing but praise from the driver, from the booking to the payment, and everything was fantastic. So inshallah, Anjum is with us as well, and he too is going to give us his pearls of wisdom. And again, please feel free to call in and ask questions directed at Wasim if you're interested in property and estate agency, and by all means direct them to Anjum if you generally want to know about business development and how to run a successful business, and any tips that we can get from him, inshallah. Okay, I'll hand over the mic to Wasim and Anjum respectively, albeit I might have forgotten how to operate the mics. But do I humbly apologize, but I will work this out. Anyway, nonetheless, before I do that, I've got a small anecdote, and I thought it'd probably lighten up the mood a little. And it sort of goes back to this morning. Got up in the morning and do as I usually do, get ready for work, brush my teeth, put my suit on, and the missus, the wife, calls me and says, come over. I says, what's wrong? She goes, please look at Ryan's tongue. Ryan's my eldest son. And she says, please look at his tongue. And I look at his tongue, and there's a weird discoloration on the tongue. It's not a spot. It's bizarre sort of discoloration. And you know, women are like, right? I tread carefully. I'm on live radio, so I won't be too sort of harsh. But she's feared the worst, and she goes, no, Kamran, you've got to take him to the GP. Forget what you're doing. Basically, take him to the GP and basically get this checked out. Anyway, I'm a bit sort of reluctant. I'm thinking, it's just some discoloration. It's not even a spot. But nonetheless, look, it is my son and he's my firstborn. So I said, I agree. So chalo theek hai, I'll take him to the GP. And basically, I drive the rest of the children. I got 4, mashallah, two girls and 2 boys. I drive them to the rest of them to school. And on the way to school, and this is a true story, on the way to school, I call the school. Okay, and I say, look, Miss Ryan from Red 5 isn't coming in today, well, this morning anyway, because we've got to take him to the GP. And I've got this on the speakerphone in the car. And she's replied, she goes, I'm very thanks for calling in, Mum. Thank you ever so much. And she's put the phone down. And can you imagine, it was just hysterics in the car because she's thought I was a woman. So my kids are now in hysterics, cringing up in laughter. And basically, they're calling me mum all the way to school. So instead of saying Khuda Hafiz Dad, they're saying Khuda Hafiz Mum. So I thought I'd make a full declaration on live radio that, look, I'm a bloke, I'm an ugly, bold, hairy guy. So if my voice doesn't carry very well over the mic, it's not my fault. It was what I was unfortunately blessed with. But nonetheless, look, that's enough of chitter-chatter. I thought it would be a nice little humorous anecdote to start with. But I'm going to pass you over to Wasim Gill, who's going to talk a bit about what he's done and what he's currently doing and enlighten us. So Wasim, over to you. I think you are live, Wasim.
Okay, assalamu alaikum everyone, and firstly thank you for having me on the show. My background is a estate agency. I originally started leaving college in the property business, and it's the first job I had working in estate agents. And it was very interesting. It's the sort of thing I always wanted to do. And when I got my first opportunity, it was great to be in that environment. And it wasn't something that I thought, to be honest, I was going to do forever. Maybe something that I'll start off with and maybe go on to other things. But as you progress and as you start enjoying the job and you progress in your career, you end up staying there and learning and obviously enjoying it, which is why it's become a career I've had for say, over 35 years. Starting at the bottom was great because you were there to learn everything and you picked up so much information for other people. And as time goes on, your own skills develop, you watch people, you learn. And working for a small company, again, gives you a lot of knowledge and time to learn because you're picking up things from people that have got a vested interest in their own business. And they've also got time as well to teach you, and you can see how they go about things rather than a corporate. So starting off at a small business, I left and went to a corporate. And at the corporate, it was completely different. You've got a lot of different people there. You've got different rules and regulations. But one thing I found there was that you were dealing with a lot of property, a lot of people buying, a lot of people selling, and your experience was completely different in that you learned quite a lot. You were going out a lot of valuations, a lot of properties were selling, and all you had to maintain there really was good customer service, which you always have to do, but also to make sure that you sold a lot of properties. And as long as the people are coming in and properties are coming on, you can do that quite easily. So my corporate career was around 10 years. And in that time, again, the things that I didn't pick up with a small business, I picked up through the corporate life. And it was a fantastic time. It was probably one of the best times I had in my career working for a corporate environment. All we did there really was you didn't have to deal with any of the backroom stuff. None of the paperwork, the accounts, etc. All you were doing was basically selling property and dealing with the business. From there, I opened up my own business, my own estate agency, which was a franchise. And again, that gave you the opportunity having the branding of a big company, but then still having the control there because you're running the business yourself. And again, that really sort of fulfilled the bits that I hadn't done in my career. So really, that fulfilled the package. Now, that was a great time as well because there you had to think about all the marketing, how you're going to get the properties on, what you need to do to get the business, and also dealing with everything from initially, again, just, you one day you were dealing with the customers, you're dealing with the valuations, but you're also, at the end of the day, hoovering up, cleaning the office, and all those things you do in the beginning when you start a business because you haven't got any money. So the initial time was obviously quite stressful, I would say, because you put all your money into the business and it takes time to build up. And it took us a good year, 18 months getting the business started. But when things started rolling, it did take off quite well. But it does take a lot of effort, long hours, and hard work. So from there, I've opened up, after selling that business, I opened up one or two more estate agents. We also did a short time having a sandwich bar, running sandwich bar, actually not running, but actually opening sandwich bars for another franchise company. And now I'm basically going into estate agents and giving them advice on how they can increase sales, how can they increase profits, how to streamline some of the things they're not doing so well. So overall, it's more going into offices and helping them to establish their businesses to do better.
MashaAllah, that's quite an extensive range of experience you've got there. Inshallah, today we should be able to sort of learn from that. Should we pass it over to Anjum? Anjum, enlighten us, buddy. What have you been doing?
Assalamu alaikum. My name's Anjum, and currently I work at Goldline Car Services Limited, which is, as Kamran said earlier, is the 5th largest private hire company in London, which is quite a feat considering the likes of Uber and all the other pressures that companies have nowadays. My own personal background comes from a family-run business background. We were retailers for many, many years, having shops in and around East London and as far as North London, and actually being very, very hands-on. My father is obviously, thankfully, is with us, and he was a very accomplished businessman as far as making shoes in Alicante, importing things, importing footwear into the country, being a retailer, property owner. So quite an accomplished gentleman and somebody to really learn from. So I've always had the bug of business and always been really, really sort of entrepreneurial in that respect. And then obviously throughout my studies, etc., always buying and selling, legally, I must add, everything. And then we had the initial very big boom of the mobile phones, Mercury 121, if anyone's old enough to remember that.
I remember that, yeah.
Taking you back a little bit. So a very dear friend of mine managed to secure a very big franchise. There was only about 7 to 10 distributors at that time in London. And I piggybacked off the back of that, having 5 or 6 retail units and having mobile phone stands within our retail units, and that was extremely successful. And then as time went on, really it was a case of growing the retail side of the business, which went from strength to strength for many years. And then as the market started to change, we pulled out of that and basically redeveloped all the property we had where the shops were, and what we didn't want to keep we sold off, etc. So quite a rounded experience really. So it's steeped in retail, in property, and then I had a stint at Barclays at a very good level, met some fantastic people there, had some great experiences, and learnt about how to be cutthroat as you would expect from a bank, but you know, that was a great experience. And then
can we not talk about cutting throats on Ramadan, please?
I think I take that back. How to be ruthless in business, Cameron.
Sure. I don't know which one was better.
Yeah. And so yeah, 3 years spent at Barclays, and you know, they truly do train their people very well, and that was a great experience. And then moving on, and then basically leaving work one day and taking a fantastic dive and injuring myself and being laid up in a hospital and wondering what to do next really. Fast forward 1 year and come up with an idea with the Olympics going on in East London, with all the hoo-ha and the money coming in, and wondering, you know, I think I should do something where I can sit and do very little really. Come up with a concept of putting together a cab company of all things, and you know, really having some great people around me that really helped me in actually branding something, putting together a very strong concept, which gave me a foot in the door in East London, where there's some very prominent players, i.e. Goldline Cars and some other companies that are very large and that hold the market. So we started off very slowly, with a lot of difficulties, as Wasim was saying earlier, around when you have to clean the floors yourself and get your hands dirty and do everything. And it was literally everything. And you know, people I don't think appreciate what it takes to work 24 hours literally, and it is literally a 24-hour business. So and I think these tough times, and Wasim will vouch for this, and so will come around, actually make you who you are. You know, and obviously they always say, you know, you do fall down, but it's how you continue, and it's never easy. I don't think anyone can say anything like that it's easy, and I worked my way through that very difficult period and managed to position the business in a very unique proposition place, meaning at Westfield at Stratford City, and then joining and then being taken over by the likes of Goldline Cars, who are extremely professional, very well run, and if anything, they have taken the business to another level, and their business, which was always very well established, and working within this industry, it's a very fluid industry, moves very quickly, and the regulation, the demands and everything else that go with it to keep something running, whereby you're probably doing around 1.8 million passenger moves a year with over or close to or over 500 drivers, is something that's quite astonishing, to be honest. And it's family owned, it's local, it serves the local people, the community, and it's very much an integral part of the transport service of East London, really. So there
Mashallah, mashallah. You know what it is? There's a wealth of experience between the two of you, both in the property industry and both in retail and in transport industry, like yourself and Jim. And hopefully, you know, the listeners will sort of benefit from that. And the reason why I've actually invited the two of you and take an approach with business is, I mean, let's face it, we are currently facing a huge issue with the youth of today, knife crime, gangland culture, and literally, you know, the youth are growing up with no aspiration whatsoever. So I've got with me today two, what I would say, pillars of the local community, who have got a lot of experience. And what I want today to be about is for those, particularly young people. I mean, let's face it, we're getting older, we're in our middle age now, and we've achieved what we have in our line of work. And I want today, this 2 hours, to inspire the youth, if they are listening, and to encourage them away from knife crime, from gangland culture, from hanging on the streets. And you know what? Our Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was an entrepreneur. He talked about ethics in business. And you know what? If we're going to learn how to do businesses, is from the seerah of our Prophet. And literally, what I aim to do today is I hope that these 2 hours will basically inspire the youth of today to aspire to be someone like Anjum, to be someone like Wasim, who have a lot to talk about, who have a lot to give back into the community. That's what I want to tie in with more of the topical issues that are surrounding nowadays with knife crime and youth issues and gangland culture. And further in this show, hopefully later, maybe in the next half hour or so, we'll go on to doing a live phone call with a gentleman called Imran, who runs a food bank under the auspicious name of Bearded Brothers. Quite an interesting name that he's chosen. And the reason why I chose for him to get engaged in this particular show was because that gentleman has done a lot to combat some of the stereotypes that we Muslims are actually facing, things like bearded terrorists and so on and so forth, and even paedophilia and child groomers. But I'll let him introduce himself a bit more. In the meantime, I'm going to take a break, and then after the break, we'll fire some questions at Anjum and Wasim, some of the questions I've thought of, and hopefully they'll have some sort of ideas, things that they might want to talk about. And I really do hope that anybody hoping or wishing to start a business does actually call in and benefit from this. I really do. So I'll see you after the break, inshallah.
Our office is located at 62 Barking Road, East Ham, E6 3BP.
Why spend summer in your room when you can fly off to your dream destination with facilities like car hire and hotel bookings? Well, Flight Masters have got you covered. We offer holiday packages, city breaks and flights at the most reasonable prices with the best provision of services. So why delay? Call us today on 0203 598 9938 or visit our website at www.flightmasters.com.
Do you dream of traveling to those blessed lands where the beloved of Allah was born? Does your heart yearn for Medina, the city of the beloved? If it is your time to experience a spiritual journey words cannot justify, then join us at Sam Travel and Tours and book your Hajj and Umrah packages today. We offer group and tailor-made packages for all your requirements. Based on Romford Road in London, for our last 10 days Umrah package, please call us on 0208 478 8911.
Ramadan FM 2018.
The voice of British Muslims.
MR Accountants provide a full range of accountancy and taxation services, including annual and management accounts, self-assessment, tax returns, VAT, bookkeeping and payroll services to all different types of businesses. With our in-house chartered accountants, you can be guaranteed to save money. Contact us now on 0203 432 9138.
कितनी बार कहा है कि घर को साफ रखा करो। मैं तो थक गई हूँ सफाई कर करके।
उफ, ये कॉकरोच, चूहे, कीड़े मकोड़े घर में घुस आए हैं। कहाँ जाऊँ, किसको बुलाऊँ?
माँ, बहन, बीवी और बच्चे, किसी को भी इंसेक्ट्स नहीं लगते हैं ये अच्छे। So don't worry, I'll call City Pest Control. Deal with cockroaches, mice, rats, bed bugs, fleas, flies, all types.
Okay, we're live again, gentlemen, so enough with the puns and things. We want to make it interesting for the listeners, inshallah. Right, I'm told I've not spoken enough about myself in terms of what I've been doing. I've got an IT background. I used to be an IT lecturer. I then went on to do a bit of IT consultancy. And for some bizarre reason, I left all of that and decided to become an estate agent. So now I run 2 offices with my brother Hassan. If he's listening, a big shout out to Hassan and love you lots. And basically, we have over the space of 15 years, we've sort of grown and grown. Now we're running 2 estate agencies known as Century 21 Cameron Adams. One office is in Leytonstone, the other office is in Stratford, Maryland Points. We do both sales, lettings, residential, property management, and so on and so forth. So there you have it. That's what I do. I mean, it's not that exciting, to be quite honest with you. But you know what? To be honest, let me not downplay it, because you guys are entrepreneurs, and I'm sure someone out there one day is going to sort of listen to this and is going to basically think, you know what, I want to aspire to be like Anjum. I want to aspire to be like Wasim, you know? Honestly, that's all we can do. It's the memories that we leave behind. Do you understand? So that's what I hope to sort of achieve. But nonetheless, let's sort of quiz you guys a little. So basically, we get some more sort of valuable knowledge out there. So the first question I have, I'm going to sort of start off with, is it okay that I go to Wasim first, Anjum? I don't want to prejudice you in any way.
No.
You sure?
No, I'm always last anyway, don't worry.
It's not intended like that, my friend. But nonetheless, look, Wasim, the first question, my friend, in your experience as an entrepreneur, you're an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah, some say that.
Yeah, some. I'm sure you've been called.
I've been called other things.
So you're in your experience as an entrepreneur. Has the sacrifice been worth it? The reason why you sacrifice is because I remember when I came into business, you've got to live it, dream it, sleep it, eat it. Everything you got to do is business.
Absolutely.
Practically 24/7, you're engaged in the business. So you sacrifice your time, your efforts, your family life, your kids' life, and so on and so forth. So the question to you, my friend, has it been worth it?
The answer to that has to be yes, because everyone has aspirations to do their own business. You find most people, majority of people working, always say, yeah, one day I'm going to do my own business, I'm going to do my own thing or whatever. And taking that initial step is a massive step for anyone, because you're comfortable, you've got money coming in, you know what you're doing in your job, and suddenly you're going to end up with no wages, bills coming out of your ears, and also the stress of running your business and seeing if you do actually have money coming in. So it's a big risk initially to take, but once you do that and you pray to Allah that obviously that everything works out for you. I mean, we believe whatever you're going to get. So in a way, what's the logic I've always had, is that my rizq is already there.
Absolutely.
So if I do something, as long as I'm doing something, I'm going to get what I'm going to get. So let's just go for it. And luckily for me, it's worked out well. So the sacrifice you make obviously is quite high, but the rewards are there as long as it all works out and you put the effort in. And what it does do, if you put a lot of effort in, which is what my initial belief anyway, was that if I spend time in my early years, spending the time, putting the efforts, and as you say, working 24 hours, which you do, because even when you go home, you're still thinking about the business, and then you're trying to sleep and you're thinking about business, then you start dreaming about the business, and it's all about the business. It does engulf you. And it's spending that time initially so that later on in life you can reap the rewards. So in that respect, it was very hard, working long hours, spending a lot of time and taking time away from family. But it gives you time later on to spend more time with your family and do things that you wanted to do, rather than it being a case that for the whole age up to 65, you're continuously working. So I would say to you, yes, definitely, it is worth it.
Well said, Wasim. That's sort of quite a comprehensive answer, really. Over to you, Anjum. Actually, before I sort of hand it over to you, I've not actually plugged the number. I've not announced the number. So if anybody wants to call in, they don't know how they're going to call in. Okay. So basically, the studio number is 0333 011 6786. I'll give that to you again. That's 0333 011 6786. Please do take this opportunity to call in and wadwa these amazing brains that I have with me today. Nonetheless, over to you, Anjum. I'll repeat the question for your benefit. In your experience as an entrepreneur, has the sacrifice been worthwhile?
In a nutshell, yes.
Hell yes, he says.
I'd say that, echoing what Wasim has just actually said, is what you put in is what you what you reap. What you sow is what you reap. That's what they really say. Obviously, you know, we all believe in as you said, what is written for you, but no one has said anywhere that you mustn't try. You have to have that desire and that belief in yourself as well. And I think one of the biggest things what a lot of youngsters lack nowadays, when you're sitting in a group or you're sitting with family and you're seeing these youngsters on the fringes and you're hearing them talk, is actually they lack confidence. And the type of confidence they do exude and give out is pretty negative, really, in the sense that it's all geared towards certain topics, or it's very narrow. You know, there's nothing there that really is something that you can latch onto. That's not for all youngsters, obviously. We mustn't just narrow it down in that way. But I think for me, speaking personally, I think it has paid off. I mean, you know, and the biggest things for me really is, you know, being able to put my children into the schools and the area where I wanted to be, you know, and it's really just really more around your children now and making sure you look after your family and things like that. And it's helped me achieve them things along the way. So yes, it's been a tough journey, and still tough. It doesn't get any easier. But yes, I think it's definitely. I echo what Waseem said there, that, you know, it does pay off, but you have to sacrifice. You have to sacrifice. There's no such thing as, and the age-old adage of saying, people say to you, something that looks too good to be true, you know, and something's offered to you and it's quick and fast. It doesn't last. You know, you have to work at it. You have to work at it.
That's a good strap line there. Quick and fast, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I mean...
On Ramadan FM,
on Ramadan
2018.
You know what? Posing that question to myself, I mean, I don't think I'm an entrepreneur, but I'm a businessman. I've got I mean, you guys have probably forgotten more about business than I know. And I really mean that, to be quite honest with you. And I would second that, or third that appropriately. Basically, it has been worth its while. And like both of you sort of commented, that having put in the hard work early on, at a latter stage you begin to enjoy that. You have that more time to spend with your family and get the best for your family, like Anjum mentioned about schooling and so on and so forth. So if you're listening out there, that's how it works, guys. You put the time and effort in, and inshallah the rewards will be there. So risk and reward, that's what it's about. All right, moving on to the next question. Again, please feel free as listeners to interject. Send me those emails or call in. At the moment, I think me and Anjum and Waseem are just speaking to ourselves. Nobody's picked up the phone yet. So do us a favor and keep us sort of motivated, and do call in. But anyway, the next question, I'm gonna break that cycle, and I'm gonna pose this one to Anjum first. So how did this 24/7, 365 days a week, being a businessman, compared to doing that 9 to 5? You know what? Doing that Monday to Friday and then forgetting about it. How did it compare? Do you miss those days? Or did you miss those days?
There's, I think for me, because of who I currently work with and how they are and the business that I help run. Obviously, there's other people involved. There's other people that own this current business. And
so, I mean, you can't take all the credit, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Never take all the credit. Never. Otherwise, you know. But I think it's important to really weigh things up. I think the 9 to 5, yes. I mean, absolutely is great if you can live that life and do it. Absolutely fine. But I think what a business gives you, and if it's your own business and it's successful, it does give you freedom. It does give you a sense of freedom. Financially, if you're doing exceptionally well, gives you a sense of freedom with that. Now, everyone says, you know, money isn't important. The world we live in, unfortunately, your shirt buttons will not pay for things. You know, so you have to have a certain level of money or something to do it. And to do that, you have to work hard. But yes, I think the all hours business, and as Waseem was saying, and as Kamran knows this as well, is you end up living it and breathing it because it's yours. and it's nobody else's, and the buck stops with you. So if something goes wrong, it will be you that be picking that up. So, you know, you tend to work harder, you know, you tend to work for longer, you know. But to be honest with you, I mean, gentlemen, I think you'll agree with this. Once you're in it, I think it takes somebody else to tell you that you're working too hard, or you're doing, you know, or you're putting in too many hours, or you're not giving time to the family, for example. I don't think I've ever noticed until it's right at the very end.
You know what? I tell you what told me, Anjum, my health issues. I just realised that working long hours, and literally I'll be sitting in the office and then end up in hospital. And you find that, oh God, this guy's just overworked. Yeah. So that's probably a good indicator.
It is. I mean, and again, it's you have to look after yourself, you know, and that's important as well. But sometimes when you have, as they say, your eye on the prize, or you're heading towards something, you know, everything else doesn't seem that important. And I think with age and experience, and when you look back now, you know, and how you're doing things now, I'm sure, you know, Cameron, if you're mentioning your health issues, you'll approach it differently. You know where your limits are. You know where you'd stop. You know what's good for you and what's bad for you. So, you know, you'd obviously approach things in a different way. And I think when I was younger, you know, in my 20s, you know, it really was a case of burning the candle at both ends, you know, and you'd really work extremely, extremely hard, and you wouldn't think twice about, you know, if you're out after 8 o'clock and you're still working, or you're, you know, running around the shops, dropping stock off, etc. But as you get older, as you gentlemen know, you know, I think am I the youngest here? I think I'm not sure.
Hey, I got claim to that one, Andrew.
I think you have actually. Yes. Sorry, I was trying to just get in there really. And I think, you know, I don't think your body allows you to work as hard. So I think the thing is to work as smart as you can, and I think to try and make the right decisions, which you should do, and anything that feels right to you, and you know yourself, you should take that decision, because there's nothing like making a decision, and I think you have to make it. So you know, and both equally are good. I think even with here now, it may be 10 o'clock, and, you know, I'm deliberately plugging this because I know someone else is listening to this. It may be 10:30. I'll still pick up the telephone if somebody calls from the office. You know, could even be 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'll take a call. You know, sometimes even at 2. You know, but I think it's how you are. I think if you feel welcome somewhere, and you're part of that team, and the people around you are good people, and you're all working towards a common goal, you will naturally try harder.
And are you gassing the guys back in the office that are listening, because you seem to be giving them a lot of praise
absolutely.
there?
I mean, I know they're listening, and if this is ever an opportunity to, you know, have it said, we're saying it. But, you know, the underlying message is, I think whatever you do, you've got to do it to the best of your abilities. And obviously, if you don't like something and you're not in it, then it's not for you. Then you know, and Cameron will, you know, back this up, and Wasim will say the same. If you don't enjoy something and you're not doing it to the best of your abilities, then it's probably best that you find something that you really actually like, or somebody pays you a lot more money. But, you know, I hope that sort of answers your question.
It certainly does. That's a pretty comprehensive answer there, Anjum. Over to Wasim. I'm sure he'll be equally comprehensive.
Okay, that's you know, good to hear what you have to say about that, because obviously my thoughts are very similar. I mean, as they say, if you do a job which you enjoy doing, or you do something that you enjoy doing, you never work a day in your life. So that's always a good thing, to do something that, you know, you really are inspired about. Now, working your 9 to 5 and then doing your own business, I think it's completely different. Although nowadays probably it's becoming similar in a way, because in the old days, once you left the office or your workplace, then your workplace could never get hold of you. And nowadays, with the mobile phones, and you're checking your emails, you're on holiday, you know exactly what's going on. Sometimes you know more what's going on than people actually at work. So it's it has changed in that respect. But the bottom line is, as a business owner, obviously you've got a lot more responsibility, especially if you've got staff as well. You have to look after them, make sure there's money in the account to pay them at the end of the month. I mean, I had quite a comfortable life when I was working corporate. I was doing well, one of the top salespeople. It was, to be honest, I didn't find it very difficult to be in that environment and be in that business. I always did well. For me, what was key was customer service. I always looked after my customers, whether it was a vendor, whether it was a buyer. I always used to have people who would see properties through other agents, and then come and see me and say, have you got so-and-so on the market? And I'd be like, no, I haven't got it. And they said, well, we'd quite like it. We like that property. If you can get it for us, I'd love to buy through you. So many times that happened, and especially if it was a property which was a refurbished property where it'd be on the market with different agents. That happened quite often, where they'd see it through one agent, then come back to me and say, look, we'd like to go ahead with you. So. Wow. So customer service for me is key, and it's all about. It's not so much about the money. I never thought about the money. I always thought about doing the right thing, and providing a good customer service. So going back to your original question, 9 to 5 was good. I quite enjoyed that, to be honest, because when I went home, I relaxed. And although you think about what's going on in the office the next day, the next week, etc., it's different to when you actually have your own business, because as soon as you close the doors and you go home, you're still continuously thinking about the business. What's coming in, what's not coming in, what you got to do. And there's different skills. When you're working for a company, they're doing all the background work. They're dealing with the accounts, they're dealing with paying the wages. They're thinking about things that you don't have to think about. But when you actually have your business, you're thinking about everything, the marketing, you're thinking about even down to the window cleaner coming in, what day he's going to come in, is the money in the petty cash, is there enough money there for the staff, is the lunch times, is it all arranged, people on holiday, is cover in place. So it's a completely different ball game. There's a lot of more stresses. So although it's quite enjoyable in a different way, it is completely different in that. But then again, you're running it, and then other people are obviously in the sort of working environment where they're working for you, and then they're sort of just doing the small parts of the business, which is selling and dealing with the customers.
Again, a very comprehensive answer, Wasim, and appreciate that. And you know what, I'll second that, really. Both have its own merits. If you're not the type of person who can work 24/7 and be motivated 24/7, then maybe a 9 to 5 is probably where you want to be. Where you can take holidays, where you can switch off and not worry about what's going on in the office and so on and so forth. But the trouble is with 9 to 5s, nowadays there's no job for life. Do you understand? A 9 to 5 can be here today and gone tomorrow. Yeah. And especially where now, with Brexit, we're entering into some turbulent times economically. Some big brand names have fallen wayward. The likes of Carillion, Toys R Us, Maplins have just liquidated, and that's your 9 to 5 gone, essentially. So all those people just been laid off. Yeah. And there's probably going to be a lot more laying off. I'm just a negative guy. I shouldn't really talk too much about that. But just coming back to what Wasim said, people will come back to you because they liked you. And one thing that's true to my heart is, seriously, guys, words is all we have. Do you understand? Because words tell us about your mindset and what comes from your heart. Do you understand? And those words can leave such an impact. And like you say, obviously, Wasim, you had a fantastic impact. There were people who come back and say to you, you know what, I want to buy that property that's being sold by Joe Bloggs over there from you. Do you understand? So, alhamdulillah, that's your opportunity to have more rizq and that Allah's ordained for you. But nonetheless, hey, guys, I could swear, and I won't swear on Ramadan FM, and particularly it's Ramadan. And I think that both of you said this to me. You said to me, Kamran, you've just not got enough material for 2 hours, right? And you know what? Shame on both of you, because I'm not even halfway through the questions, and it's gone 6 o'clock. Do you understand? Which basically leads me, I think it's gone 58. I did say to, if you don't mind, we'll take a break from our business orientated stuff and look into community cohesion, look into tackling the stereotypes that we Muslims have been facing ever since 2011, 2001, I beg your pardon, which is the 9/11 sort of attacks by Osama bin Laden, supposedly, I'm sure there's a lot of conspiracies surrounding that, or the CIA. I'm not sure who did it. I'm sure you guys have got some theories on that as well. But I won't dwell on that. But what's happened year on year, we've had a landmark, and I use the word landmark, terrorist attack, basically that is has been attributed to Muslims, not to criminals, not to narrow-minded extremists, but albeit Muslims at large. And as a result of that, we've been tarnished with the same brush. I mean, look, at the moment I'm wearing a beard, and you know how many times I've thought about wearing a beard before I grew this thing? Because I was frightened of people treating me differently because I'm wearing a beard. That shouldn't be a consideration. I guess is a weakness of my iman, but basically it shouldn't have to be a consideration. But nonetheless, add to the terrorist accolade, we've got the child grooming rings that have been sort of exposed lately. Again, that was just cringeworthy, honest. I would wake up, read the news, listen to the news, listen to LBC, and what they had to say was just horrible. Absolutely. It was just shameful. And not to forget about misogyny, not to forget about community cohesion. Anyway, that said, I won't talk too much about that, but that said, I basically recently came across a social media video about Imran from Bearded Brothers. And you know what? I was so proud of this guy. I don't know him from Adam, and I've never met him. But you know that extract from social media, and it just goes to show the power of social media nowadays, to be quite honest with you. But anyway, this gentleman is running a food bank and putting back into the community. And you know what? He's actually helping non-Muslims, and I'm sure he's helping Muslims as well. What a fantastic thought. And who says that we Muslims don't put back into community? I can't say we Muslims because unfortunately we don't do enough. But that said, I'm sure there's a lot of other Muslim organizations that do a lot, but they never get the media exposure and so on and so forth. Again, if there's anybody out there that's got such aspirations or is currently engaged in such a project where they are putting back into the community, helping the poor, and actually completing their deen, please do call in. Please do send us an email. I give you the number again. It's 0333 0111 6787. 86, I beg your pardon. I'm getting a bit dyslexic all of a sudden. I'll repeat that again. It's 0333 011 6786. Do please call. If you're engaged in such a social project, please do call. I know there's a place in Ilford Lane, and I can't remember what the outlet is called, but it's a chicken shop, and that gentleman hands out free chicken every Thursday, I think it is. MashaAllah, God bless him, and may Allah give him a lot of ajr and a strength to continue. And if you're listening, buddy, I'd like to take this opportunity to commend you and encourage you to call me today to talk about your project. And you know what? I'm sure your project is charity funded, and raise some awareness and raise some funds for your project. But anyway, I'm going to now firstly apologize because Usman, the station manager, told me how to operate these complicated sort of devices here, but I've totally forgotten because I'm uber nervous. Anjum, I'm not talking about Uber cars. I'm just the expression, right?
That's a swear word.
No, that's not a swear word. I'll replace. Listen, I'll give another plug out to a gold line. If you guys are listening, you are the premier cab sort of firm in London. And you know what?
I may interject there if you don't mind, and just say, by the way, we do also offer coach services, mini buses, and to reach us, the telephone number is, if that's okay, Cameron.
Of course it is.
Now, ready for this number? Drum roll, please, gentlemen. 0208 555 5555. And to repeat that, not that anybody should really forget that, unless you're Rosa is really getting to you. And we do that again. Drum roll, please, Mr. Wasim. Thank you very much. 0208 555 5555. Hopefully I'll keep my job after doing this. Thank you. Now passing you back to Mr. Kamran.
Hey, look, you know what it is the chaps at Gold Line, all of them are absolutely fantastic. And you know what? I got an atrocious memory. I can't remember what I had for breakfast at any one time. And you know what? I can even remember the number 0208 555 555. You know what I'm saying? But let's not prejudice Wasim there. So please, if you do want to get in touch with Wasim and benefit from his consultancy services, I understand his website is wasimgill.com, okay? And that's a Wasim with a V, not a W. And to be honest with you, I didn't really come across that spelling until I met my friend Wasim with a V and not a W. But he tells me on good authority that it's actually Wasim, the correct spelling is with a V, because I understand his daughter is basically studying Arabic.
She's got an Arabic degree.
MashaAllah, there you go. So yeah, anybody out there, any Wasims out there with a W, you want to rename yourself to Wasim with a V for Victor, okay? But anyway, Usman, if you hear me, buddy, can you come in to the studio and help me dial Imran from the Bearded Bros Food Bank, because I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. He did say wave at me, right?
He did say wave, yeah.
I think he's not even there. I think he's done one. I think he's literally left us on live and on radio and basically
gone home. He's preparing his iftar.
Probably. Usman, can you see me, buddy? Let's go to a break, okay? Yeah. Hey, let's put the listeners to a break and then we'll come back to you shortly.
Ramadan FM 2018.
The voice of British Muslims.
Hey, tenu we wali aake aita cricket na khelya kar to fir window punch ho rahi hai.
Don't worry, Dad. Our windows need changing anyway.
हाँ तो पैसे तू दे से ना.
Nah, don't worry, Dad. UK Windows will sort it out.
UK Window? Oh, कौन है ना?
They're the best double glazing company about. They do windows, patios, French doors, sliding doors, UPVC, aluminium, you name it, they've got it. We can go see them at 51 to 53 Upton Lane, Forest Gate, E79PA, or call them at 07984 440 093, or visit ukwindowslondon.co.uk.
वाह जी वाह, ये तो कमाल है यार. UK Windows,
Zindabad.
Thinking about selling or letting your home? With Maxwell Estates, you don't need to look any further. Well established with over 15 years of experience, Maxwell Estates are specialists in residential sales and lettings. We manage over 200 properties in and around Northwest London, keeping our landlords and tenants updated with all the latest laws and legislations. Based in Edgware, our experienced specialist negotiators always ensure we maximise the full potential of your property. Call us now on 0208 952 0808 for a free no obligation quotation, or visit our website www.maxwellestates.co.uk for further information. Maxwell Estates, the name you can trust.
With over 25 years experience in the East London area, there's no better firm to rely on than Cameron Adams Century 21 when it comes to properties. Be it lettings, property management or sales, we can assist you to ensure you get the most out of your property. Contact us on 0208 558 2000 for a free, no obligation valuation and watch us do what we do best.
Grab your taste of luxury at Pink's Boutique. Designer brands like Hugo Boss and Armani to keep your style in check. Catering for ladies, men and kids, Pink's Boutique has it all under one roof. And we offer shipping worldwide, so get the look to fit your attitude. Visit us on our website at pinksboutique.co.uk. Remember, that's pnksboutique.co.uk. Or pop into our store at 302 Brentwood Road, Romford.
Assalamu alaikum, Imran.
5TA.
Ramadan FM 2018.
The voice of Britain.
The thing is, hi, is that Imran?
It is, yes.
Assalamu alaikum, Imran. How are you, brother?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. I'm very well, thank you. And how are you?
I'm well, thank you, brother. First and foremost, I wanted to really thank you for taking the time to have this call in with us. And secondly, brother, I wanted to sort of commend you for your work, what you've been doing. And you know what, I'd recently come across that on a little social media video that was flying around. And when I was asked to do this radio hosting, I thought to myself, I would love to give this brother some exposure. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Imran. You are live on Ramadan FM. And you know what? Talk to us about you. What do you do? And where are you based?
Okay. Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much for having us online, first of all. We are humbled by the love from up and down the country, and obviously from places internationally. We are the Salma Food Bank in the Bearded Bros. Salma Food Bank started life in 2016. It started with a conversation with my father, and I lost my mother when I was about 17. I'm now 38, so quite a long time ago. I didn't realize what I actually lost until I had my own children. I got married, had my own children, and one day, 2016 Ramadan, I was just sitting with my father, as you do, before iftar, and I was having a really deep conversation. My dad's very old-fashioned, and I think it was the very small amounts of times I can remember that I've had a very deep conversation with my father, and he went into detail, telling me about my mother, into a lot of depth. I didn't actually realize that this was going on. Anyway, cut a long story short, my mum was a migrant woman who had very little English skills, but what she had managed to do locally in her area and with neighbours, etc., who were black, white, from Christian backgrounds, etc., was amazing. And every time I would see them, they always used to say that, your mum was like this and your mum was like that. They would speak very highly of my mother. What was actually going on? I didn't realize why these people were doing this. Anyway, cut a long story short, she was killing people with kindness. She was an extremely kind person, very humble person. And, the idea started that I would help my neighbours. I come from a very privileged background, if you like. And, my father said it very straight from the word go that, listen, we're not here to make any money from anybody, especially with, the large charities and how they get tarnished with. They take so much amount of money, and they do this with the money, and by the time you give £100 and only £20 to reach Syria, sort of scenario. So we thought we're not going to take any money. So we looked at the food bank idea. We looked at the concept of food banks. Now, food banks work in a certain way. Food banks work that you have a problem, so you would go to either a doctor, a social worker, sport worker, etc., and they would issue you with a food voucher. That food voucher is then you are able to go to a food bank and get food. It means that you don't have any food, you don't have any money. Now, this all being well and done, the problem you had, the food banks were charities who were getting, lots of money from the government and from here, there, and everywhere, but they were relying upon volunteers, so they're only open like on a Wednesday or a Friday. So I'll give you a scenario which I was presented with when I was researching this, that if it's a Monday, and you have two children, and you are what they call hand to mouth, okay, which a lot of people are. They don't have any savings, they don't have any family they can rely upon, and your money from the job centre, excuse me, I've got a bad throat. Your money from the job centre hasn't come in for some reason, okay, and it's Monday. You've got a 5-year-old and you've got a 3-year-old. How do you explain to them that you can't be fed today because yes, mum and dad have got a voucher, but the food bank, which is like 3 miles away, right, is going to open in 2 days' time, kids. So how do you explain that? So this is real life. So what I found was a niche. I found a niche in the market to say emergency means emergency. It means there and then. This is what it was. And then I found that the voucher system was so bad because if somebody hasn't got any money, they would need to find somebody like a sport worker or a social worker who would then give them a voucher, which was up to them. If they gave them a voucher or not, the job centre would give them a voucher. Now, I thought that was quite ridiculous as well because it's kicking somebody while they're down. So we found, and then we looked at the idea of these people having to travel another couple of miles, okay, to go and get this food. So what we designed was the first food bank in the country, which was an emergency-only situation. So I got a mobile phone. This is exactly how I did it. I got a mobile phone on a contract, and I said, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to advertise on Facebook. If anybody's in need of my area, I will help them. I will make sure that I will not sleep until everybody in this area has got food. And I promised that. This was, if you like, a way for me to say thank you to my mother. It was a way for me to say, Mom, I understand what you've been doing. I understand why you used to go to Pakistan, why you used to help these people, why you used to look after your neighbours. I get that now. right? You're no longer around for me to say thank you. So this, for me, is a way to say thank you to my mom. Anyway, we got the mobile, and we started just taking phone calls from people like in and around the West Midlands. It was unbelievable because we was inundated with phone calls. So me, my wife, the kids, every single day we would be doing these phone calls while I'm working as well. Then I'll be making the bags. And for a whole year, right, believe it or not, I just drove around everywhere for a whole year with the wife and myself and the kids. And we were just dropping off food to people who were in need. And it was such a humbling experience. Then in 2017, you had the Grenfell Tower incident where the Bearded Bros actually came to life. And I hooked up with my partner in crime, Nav, alhamdulillah. And we went out and we went and fed people. And Sky News was there. And they pointed a camera in our face and they said, "What are you guys called? Where have you come from?" And naturally, we all had beer, so it was a case of Bearded Bros. That's where the idea was born. And alhamdulillah, we've come a long way. We've had, the food bank and the Bearded Bros, we've had over 54 million hits worldwide, as in people viewing us. We've been dubbed in like 10 languages. It's been a roller coaster ride upwards, but we still continue the theme of community first, no money whatsoever to be involved. It only works with volunteers. So somebody could come and get these bags from us, and they could say, "I will cover this area. We will make the assessments. We will do all the leg work, and then all we do is pick up the phone to the volunteer and say, listen, there's a guy around the corner with 2 kids. He's very close to your house. Would you be kind enough to drop the food off to him?" And they would do that. So everybody chipping in the local community in order to help someone else. That's what the whole idea was. But there and then, as an emergency. And we were doing this under the pure factor that we are Muslim. Khalas. This was our story.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing, Imran. Listening to your story is absolutely inspirational and humbling. And you know what? I will make a dua every time, inshallah, that Allah gives you barakah, Allah gives you the strength to continue and doing this.
Amen.
And I had quite a few questions for you, Imran, but with this sort of introduction that you've given us, you've actually covered a lot of them. But what I wanted to, so a couple of questions that I wanted to sort of definitely ask you, because they sort of link in with undertones of my show today. And the trouble is, and I'm sure you'll probably 100% you'll relate to this, is for far too long now, we Muslims have been battling stereotypes of terrorism, of pedophilia, of child grooming, of misogyny, and so on and so forth. And you know what? It's absolutely inspirational to see someone like you, who has actually done so much for community cohesion, that tackles quite a few of those stereotypes. So the question to you, Imran, is that what positive feedback have you got in regards to community cohesion? Do you think now Muslims I know there's quite a few Muslims in Birmingham, but do you think that now Muslims are more welcomed from your actions in local community, from what you do for the community? Or has it not really made a sizable difference, a notable difference?
It has made a notable difference for sure. Definitely, I when I first started this, and people, when at our last statement that we give when we make an assessment for a food bank, we ask them several questions, and we make sure that they're eligible for food help. At the end of the assessment, we always make sure that we tell them that we are Muslims, and this is a Muslim-led organization. We work under the ethos that no person should go to bed without food. And we only do this because we're Muslim. And when I say this, we've had so many shocking people that say, "You're what? You're Muslim?" On the doorstep as well, people, when you say to them why you do what you do, they're baffled by the whole idea that Muslims are helping people. People don't know about this. I honestly, the stereotype has definitely worked. There has been a lot of love out there. I do a program called Meet a Muslim, where I invite ex-EDL, EDL, National Front, whoever you are, Britain First, the Football Lads Alliance. I invite everybody with open arms as a host, and I tell them to come down. And recently we had, Tommy Robinson. Tommy Robinson's uncle showed up which was interesting, fun and games. Now, he walked out of that meeting, well, the whole day was spent with him, as definitely educated, and now we're in talks with him that we are going to be setting up a Muslim-led food bank in Luton, and that would be run by Tommy's uncle. Alhamdulillah.
Wow.
So we're definitely changing mindsets because the reality of it is I'm your everyday lad, and I'm sure everybody listening to this wants to do the same as me. But Alhamdulillah, I've just gone that little bit further and just got up and done it. Everybody that's listening to this, honestly, I believe purely from the bottom of my heart, every Muslim has good intentions. They don't want to harm anybody. They don't want to cause any problems. The majority of us are very lovely people, and everybody wants to get involved, but they don't know how to. This is a perfect opportunity. You know what? You don't have to do the whole area. You don't have to do your own town. Just do your street. Go to your street and do a leaflet or knock on people's doors and say, you know what? I'm a Muslim. I want to help you because you're my neighbor, regardless of color or religion. Please let me help you. You watch. That will make a massive impact. That will be a really big statement what you're doing there. Even if you didn't say you was a Muslim, if your appearance is as a Muslim, I'm sure somewhere down the line, out of this, if somebody can even turn around and say, you know what, Muslims aren't really bad. Alhamdulillah, I think we've achieved something.
Well, you certainly have in my eyes, certainly, absolutely, brother. I am so proud of you. And you know what, if you were in London, I would love to get involved. And if, for example, any of the listeners listen to you and are inspired by you, how would they basically get in touch with you? And would you be kind enough to maybe give them a helping hand to set something up like this?
Yes, I have been doing this for 2 years, and alhamdulillah, I have spoken to so many people from up and down the country, from Bradford to London, to even Scotland, and they've come down, and I'm more than happy for them to come down. I will show them how the food bank works. I'll give them the little hints and tips. I am more than happy to help anybody. I have all the time in the world for this, because if it helps somebody else, I'm with you.
Wow. And how is it funded, Imran? How do you find the money? Is it purely food is donated? Is that how it works?
Alhamdulillah, like I said, I come from a privileged background, so sure. I have a business in Birmingham, which the warehousing for the food bank where it's housed is obviously I can do that in my own warehouse. Now, when it comes to funding, there's no such funding that you require, because the people donate the food to us. When we first started, yes, I had to fund it myself. But where people fund the food to you, so people go online to Asda, for example, and they would buy the grocery, and they will have it sent to your warehouse.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Or they will send you, because we don't take any cash, so they will send you, like, for example, a gift card with £20 on there, and then you can go and buy whatever you like rice pudding or something. Sure. And then there's other ways they will come in. I mean, the people of Birmingham have been so generous. They have been so generous, alhamdulillah. They just drive, you just get a knock on the door, and there you go, there's a car full of food for you. Alhamdulillah. And this is how we've been operating. So we have the volunteers that would come in, they will make the bags, and then the volunteers that would go and drop it off, they will come to us, they will pick up the bags, and then whenever need be, they will drop off in an emergency. So if you like, it's just a big, massive circle. There's no money really involved. There's nobody wants to pay themselves. There's nobody wants to take out electricity bills or petrol. Everybody's just doing their little bit to help somebody else, and that little bit's going a long way now.
Wow, mashallah. May Allah give you the strength to carry on, Imran. Imran, I've got a couple of guests in the office. Just want to quickly ask them if they've got any questions for Imran. Any questions, Wasim, for Imran?
Yes, assalamu alaikum. I've got a question. Couple of questions for you, and mashallah, very good work you're doing. Has it been picked up by the local press and national press? And because I know you mentioned about online, you're getting a lot of hits, but obviously it helps when you're in the local papers and national papers.
I can tell you, BBC is like my second home.
Yeah.
If you Google the Bearded Bros and the BBC, alhamdulillah, they have been extremely kind to me. The BBC, ITV, Channel 4, we're in talks at the moment for doing a documentary on BBC 3, which is how Muslims spend Ramadan, because all during Ramadan we're fasting. Most of our volunteers are fasting, but still we're going out there making sure somebody else has got some food. right? So they wanted to cover this story, so it might be coming up like a documentary. But the international press, all the way to India, BBC Hindi, Russia, you know, the press has covered us. RT News, they've covered us. I mean, the accumulation of 53 million views, I'm talking about cumulative through press and social media.
Wow, mashallah.
Very good.
Anjum, for you, any questions for you, buddy?
I'm just in awe, really. Assalamu alaikum, Imran. You okay?
Walaikum salam. Alhamdulillah, I'm very well, thank you.
That's good, yeah. Kamran actually sent across a link the other day. Kamran is he's on the ball when it comes to WhatsApp. Forever sending me messages and videos. And I was received a message and I saw your very short video, and it's very powerful actually. It's very, very powerful, and I think the work you do, I think we can, you know, we're definitely in awe of what you do. It's I'm sure it takes a lot of effort, you know, but may God reward you and everyone else that's you know, involved. I think the gentlemen have covered off all the questions. I think you've been fantastic as well.
Absolutely.
I'll pass you back to Kamran.
Imran, I've got a couple of things. What I'd like you to do, buddy, is firstly give your personal business a bit of a plug on air. What do you do? Because it'd be a great opportunity to expose your business as well. That's your livelihood, and may Allah give you a lot of barakah in that, and He will, because of what you're doing with the community. So what is it that you...
I will tell you what I do, but I wouldn't want to advertise my business. The reason being, because I promised my father that I would not take advantage of this situation, and alhamdulillah, my word is my bond. So I would tell you what, I'm actually an IT consultant by trade. I design software. That's what I do. Most of the time when I'm not packing bags of food. But no, this is what I do. I'm an IT consultant by trade. Jazakallah for the opportunity anyway. And other than that, I'm up and down the country. I buy and sell job lots of mainly clothing.
Sure.
So on a professional level, that's what I do.
You know what, Imran, honestly, buddy, talking to you, first seeing you on that social media clip was humbling, and now talking to you is ever so even more humbling. And with that last sort of thing that you just told me about what you promised your father, you've elevated yourself in such esteem with me. Honestly, it's absolutely amazing. I mean, I'm not monopolizing too much of your time. You've not got to be somewhere and deliver some food, do you? I don't want to take
it.
Yeah,
it's cool. It's cool.
Listen,
I'm doing that after 7 o'clock. I'm doing that from 7 till 8:30. That's my shift today. Okay. Because then you know, when you're getting hungry for iftar, you're thinking, I've got to do something. This is perfect. It's a perfect thing to do if you're hungry. I can tell you that much.
MashaAllah. Imran, how has it been received? I mean, I know Birmingham is quite a multicultural sort of society, so you've got a fair population of Sikhs, Hindus, and the indigenous people, the white folk.
Yes.
How has it been received by other faiths, for example, Hindus and Sikhs? And again, I don't have to ask this question, this is implicit. I'm sure you don't discriminate on race or religion as to who you help.
No, not at all. I can tell you by stats, 94% of people that we help are not Muslim. 94%. That's the amount of people that we help. With regards to how it's been perceived and taken by other religions, they are brilliant. Honestly, they are so good. I believe it that I have a Sikh lady. I don't want to mention her name. She's only about, I would say, 2 miles away from our depot, and she's so lovely. She speaks Punjabi, and she always calls me. She says, I've cooked this. Would you be kind enough to come and pick it up? And she's such a lovely lady. She boxes it all up into small containers, and she gives me that. Maybe she gives me about 10 or 15 every sort of week. And then what I do when I'm going to drop off my food parcels, I give somebody one of them. Hey, you go, here's a curry for you. And it's so lovely. And I've had a lot of Hindu people, a lot of Sikh people who have really played ball with us, and they haven't discriminated on the fact that we're Muslim or anything like that, nor have we discriminated. We work very closely with the churches, because a lot of the churches, they have food banks, but again, they are bound by red tape because they are a charity. So you cannot just walk into a food bank and demand food. It doesn't work like that. You have to have a food voucher. So what we do is we say to all of the food banks that, listen, if anybody walks into your place, do not turn them away. Please give them our telephone number. Because when you phone us, We will make the assessment, and we will make sure within 4 hours of that assessment being approved, you will have food on your table. So we work closely with all for the interfaith thing, all for it, and it's worked wonders. And you can phone randomly any food bank in the West Midlands and just get a reference for the Salma Food Bank and the Bearded Bros, and they will tell you, they are great people to work with, because we solve a problem. If somebody walks in there, I'm sure the volunteers don't want to say no. The volunteers are doing this out of the kindness of their heart, but they then have found the Salma Food Bank great, because I can just refer you to these guys, and these guys will help you. And so, same goes with the job centres, same goes for the doctor's surgeries. We work with social services all the time. Social services, it's not just food emergency in this manner. We receive phone calls at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Okay, somebody's had domestic violence issue, and they've been moved into a hotel. Now, with domestic violence, what actually happens is if the lady's been beaten up by her husband, she just got up and left. She's taken the kids with her. She's left. The only thing she's got is what's on her back. Social services, yes, they will house you in an emergency in a hotel. Yes, the police will help you, but guess what? Nobody's going to give you any food. This is where people like the Salma Food Bank step in, and one of our volunteers will go out and say, okay, what is it that you need? We have nappies. We have baby food. We have food for yourself. At least you're not going to starve. And there you go, sister. And because you're part of our community. So it's across the ambulance services, the fire brigade services, every emergency service if you like, they know us as the 4th emergency service. We were, funny enough, we was at the recent West Midlands Police Diamond Awards, where we came up as we came up as one of the finalists, and they referred to us as the 4th emergency service.
Wow.
They did. Yeah, that's from the chief himself. The main man, they refer to us as the 4th emergency, because they see and they work alongside with us, you see. They see the amount of people that we help, and they see that these guys are not messing about. These guys are not doing it for money. Okay, they are genuinely doing it for the basis of humanity.
Wow. Subhanallah, subhanallah. You know what, Imran? I can listen to you talk all day. Honestly, there's not one dull moment. Well, everything that you just said is just so inspirational. Absolutely inspirational.
Jazakallah. Listen, Kamran, I didn't start off like this, dude. Sure. Honestly, this is like just been a journey for me. I am just a normal everyday guy. I haven't got wings or anything like that. You understand where I'm coming from? I am who I am, and this has been such a learning curve for me. I didn't even know where a food bank was. I had no idea. Listen, I was under the mentality, okay, you're going to help someone. First thing that comes in your head, Pakistan. Really and truly, that's what comes into your head, and this is what we've been fed from a very early age. There's no such thing as poverty in England, but my God, it's like a can of worms. As soon as it's been opened, we're on like number 16,000 now in the 2 years, and it just keeps on growing every single day. I mean, I can give you an example. From 9 o'clock in the morning to now 6:30, we've probably received over 50 phone calls today. 50 phone calls, and inshallah, them 50 people will be served. They will be served, inshallah. Why not? And we are there for a purpose, and we will make sure that them guys. And you know what? Hats off to all the volunteers. Hats off to them. They take out their time. They take their children along. This has been also a massive learning curve for kids. You want to see how many people phone me who have teenagers, and they say, Brother Imran, my kids are so materialistic. They do not appreciate anything. I buy them an iPhone 7, the next minute they're like, I want an iPhone 8. Please, can you do something? And this, working as a volunteer and taking their kids out, honestly, I've had some really positive stories. I had a mom who's 14-year-old, started dealing in drugs. And she came to me and she said, can you do something? And I said, look, sister, the only thing I can suggest is take him with you. Start doing this, take him with you, let him see the other side. This guy's now become a superstar, because when we make an assessment, we always ask the beneficiary if they would be kind enough to share their experience on camera. This would, A, raise awareness. B, if there's anybody else in need and they would watch this video, they would know that we exist and they would pick up the phone and call us so we can help more people. And the 14-year-old, he's found a new passion. So he goes there and he's all jumping up and down, and he can get the camera out and make a film with the beneficiaries, and he loves it. Every time he appears on Facebook, he's like superstar. So now he's found a different passion. It's amazing. This is really, really mind-boggling. We never started. We never, ever started off in this intention. That is the reality of it. And when my dad and I, we first thought, shall we feed the homeless? Shall we do this? Maybe we'll do 100, 200 people. We was under this sort of impression. And, honestly, I wasn't born in this manner. I have learned this over the 2 years. I have learned what's gone on.
Wow. Imran, do you find that, has there actually been any government help at all? Do local authorities help you? Do they fund you? Is there anything from that aspect at all?
No.
Nothing at all?
Because we refuse to be a charity. Okay. So therefore, there's no help available.
So basically,
there's
you're
no
not bound.
help whatsoever.
So you're not bound by any red tape, effectively.
No, nothing whatsoever. The only thing that we're bound by is obviously because we carry information for vulnerable people. So therefore, we're bound by data protection.
Yeah.
That's the only thing we're bound by. But as soon as you start taking money, I believe money is a big fitna. And I think that's what causes the problem. There's a lot of big charities. I wouldn't like to name any, but a lot of big charities, you know yourself, how they've gone down the sort of pothole where people are, they've run off with millions of pounds. And I think this is what it is. It's because money gets to you. It's greed, isn't it?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What about Imran? If you don't mind, guys, can I ask the question?
Of course.
Yeah. By all means, if you've got a question, interject.
No,
right?
carry
on. Imran, do you find that anybody tries to abuse the situation, call you and pretend that they're hungry and they sort of take some food off? How often does that happen?
I would say about 8% of the calls that we receive are fraudulent. When I say fraudulent, they've either used us before very close time, maybe like a 2-month period, and they've changed their name and they're trying to call us, or the information they are sharing with us is fabricated. So they may be saying to us, okay, I have a 6-year-old child who's not eaten since yesterday, which then obviously ups the ante for us to help them, right? So what we will do in that instance, we always have plans in action where if somebody said to me, I have a 6-year-old child, okay, cool, we can help you out. Is it possible for me to speak to the 6-year-old child? And just to say hello, just to say, hi, it's the man from the food bank. Are you okay? What's your name? So we have trick questions in place in our assessments that help us tackle this sort of thing. Again, the reality of it is, if somebody is a good liar, they will get through that assessment and more than likely be helped. But if somebody's phoning us and they're telling me that they're a 22-year-old, they get paid job seekers allowance, they haven't worked in 2 years because they can't find work. Okay, they were paid last week £200 and something from the job centre, and they've got no money and no food. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to help you, because to me that there is quite ridiculous. You haven't worked in 2 years. You're not helping yourself. You've received £200, a week ago, and you've got nothing to show for it. I get people phoning us saying, "Oh, I had £200, but I've spent it on a tracksuit." I beg your pardon. You've spent it where? So if I feel I make all the judgment calls on every assessment myself. I don't carry out the assessments. They're carried out by volunteers, but the final call is made by myself. So what I would do on a normal day would be between 6 and 7. I would sit down with any of the volunteers who are here. I would go through all the assessments and say yes or no. So, and I've got used to that. You get an instinct for it. You get that sort of, when you hear that story, you've got it there on the iPad. You can hear what these people are saying, and you could tell who are genuine and who are not. And we might not get it right most of the time, but hey, you know what? You have to answer for that one day, and we are just here to help you. But we do get that. I would say 8% of calls per day are fraudulent.
Wow. But look, you know what it is? It seems that you're quite attuned to that, and you can smell a rat, as they say.
Yes.
Yes. The other thing, Imran, tell me, what sort of cuisine do you sort of serve? Some dal roti or any sort of anything that you can get your hands on?
No, dude, we can't do dal roti, unfortunately. But what we do, because we're an emergency only, right? Our typical food pack for one person that should last in between 3 and 4 days would be 2 long life milks. It would include 5 baked beans, 2 rice pudding, 2 soup, tea bags, 1 sugar, 2 biscuits, 2 tuna fish. Okay? Remember what we're talking about. We are talking about people that don't have anything. Okay? Our job isn't to supply you food. Our job is just to get you out of stock. We are giving you enough time, 3 to 4 days, to either your money to come in or you to get to a traditional food bank with a voucher. Does that make sense? So we are covering the emergency interim period, and this is what we would. Dal Roti does come into action. How that comes into action, because we work with big organisations like Nando's, we work with Madhu's, we work with other catering companies up and down the country, and they would give us like chicken, kebabs, samosas, which we would freeze. Okay, and if we have a local delivery, which is a family, then we can offer that sort of food to them.
Wow, absolutely amazing. You know what, I could question you all day long, Imran, and you know what it is, and you speak with such passion. It's absolutely amazing. Wasim and Anjum, any further questions for you? Wasim's got a question, please, fire away.
Got a couple of questions. So how many times can they ask you for food?
Normally, on a normal assessment, it would be once every 6 months.
Wow.
Once every 6 months. But saying that, I do have long-term plans, and them long-term plans are strictly for families. They are strictly for families where, if, for example, you have a mother who has 5 children and the baby's only like 6 months old, and the rest of the kids are, I do not expect her to be recovering very fast. I do not expect her to go out and get a food voucher. So therefore, I will put a plan in place where she will receive food from us every 2 weeks.
Right. So do you get requests from people saying, "Look, that was last week, but I need more food this week"?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. We do. We won't just turn them away. We'll say what's actually happened, that your circumstances have changed, that where you feel that it's okay to call us back up again. And they might say, you know, if their money didn't come in last week, and the job centre may be phoning for them on their behalf to say, listen, Imran, you helped them out last week, but we still haven't managed to give them any money. So is it possible? So then it makes sense because I've got a reference. So yes, then we will go out twice.
And if somebody wanted to start this venture, what sort of space would they need? Would your sort of through lounge do, or is it you need a lot more space, or you need a van?
Your lounge would do. Your lounge would do. Our food bank, because everything comes in so fast and goes out that even quicker, is just around, I would say, about 20 feet square. That's all we've got. That's the only in my warehouse. That's the only dedicated space that we've got right next to our masjid. This is what we've got, and you know, alhamdulillah, the faster it comes in, the faster it goes out. So yeah, that's what you need. You don't require a massive warehouse or something. You can do it in your living room.
Yeah. And Imran, how many volunteers do you have?
At the moment?
Yeah.
I have maybe around 300.
Wow, 300.
Yep.
And if you don't, sorry, Anjum, but if you don't mind me asking, are they all Muslims, non-Muslims, or any sort of?
No, not at all. I would say about 60% were Muslims and 40% are non-Muslims.
Wow.
They consider themselves a beauty bros, females beauty bros. Because it's just a concept. That's all it is. It's just a concept.
A bit of a startling thought, Imran, a lady with a beard, but never mind, carry on.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I thought. But I had a suggestion the other day. Some sister contacted me. She said, would you help me set up Niqabi sisters? And I thought, what a good idea. That's not a bad idea at all. Yeah, I would do, actually. I would support you on that. And she's going to come and see me next week, inshallah. So let's see what we can drum up. Maybe it's maybe we can do more, because again, the stereotype about people with the niqab
is massive,
right?
is huge.
Maybe we can get rid of this stereotype. You know, dudes, the reality of it is, honestly, even if I can change the mindset of one person,
absolutely,
one person, right,
yeah.
I would be very, very over the moon. I'm not. I can't stand in a mosque and give a sermon. I can't do that. But at least I could do something. And this is all we're trying to do is, listen, I could do this. Let me just concentrate on this. And your listeners, they would be in the same boat. They would have this same passion that they want to do something. And this is not going to cost you any money. Trust me, it's not going to cost you any money. Just go onto your street, find out, knock people's doors, honestly, just talk to them. And I'll give you an example. The food packs, if you was to buy a food pack, what I just mentioned to you, it would cost you less than £5.
Wow.
Yes, that emergency food pack will cost you less than £5 to make up. And I'm sure even if 2 houses in your street said, you know what, I haven't got any food, would you help me? And you help them, that's 10 quid. It's just, it's peanuts, isn't it? It's really just peanuts. And what have you done? You've started a revolution.
Wow. Imran, you mentioned plans. Have you got any plans to grow this, what can I say, social project beyond the boundaries of Birmingham into other big cities? Any talks there?
Yes.
At all? Oh, wonderful, wonderful. How's that?
Yes, yes. Bradford, Sheffield, London.
Wow.
Inshallah, we have again next week a lot of talks with people who are passionate that they want to do something. Alhamdulillah, Allah has blessed them with a lot. So that the startup, if you like, the startup costs won't be anything to be considered to these people. But yes, we are in talks. We just make dua that this concept can grow, and it becomes that we as Muslims are the pioneers of this concept. Okay, and the biggest thing for me would be that I'm a Muslim. I'm not a beggar. I don't want to put my hand out and ask for money. I refuse to beg. But what I do want to do is I want to give. Allah has put me in a better position. I don't want to give. And this is the bottom line. That unfortunately, these charities, they're the biggest businesses going at the moment, and it's unfortunate. It's very, very unfortunate because honestly, we have come down to begging. If you look at all the channels, if you listen to some of the radio stations, my God, what are we doing? What exactly are we doing? And it's really, really bad. And I think this way around, we need to look at home first. We definitely need to look at home, look at our communities first. And inshallah, may Allah make it easy for everyone.
Ameen, ameen. You know what? That's the main thing. And you know what? It just takes like people like yourself to inspire those people. And you know what? This call has been extremely, extremely informative. And I call upon all the listeners, especially today at iftar, once you've done your iftar, even after Tarawih, to pray for Imran, to pray for the Salma Food Bank, and may Allah give them ajr and give them strength to carry on. Imran, basically, I got 15 minutes to this show, and you got 15 minutes to your shift in doing your good deeds. Unless there's no questions from my colleagues, you don't have any more questions?
I was just going to say to Imran, actually, if you are coming to London, can we come and see us?
Oh, mashallah.
Yeah, inshallah, why not? Yeah. Whereabouts are you guys in London?
Far away.
We're based in East London, Leytonstone.
I know Leytonstone.
You know Leytonstone? Okay.
Absolutely. Why? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Asian, don't forget, after all.
Yeah. I'm gonna get I'll get your telephone number. I'll get the telephone number from the office, and we'll get in touch. There's quite a big, as you know, there's a big community here as well.
Yep.
And I think if you're going to be doing something in London, it'd be something to get involved in. I think after listening to you, I think it'd be something definitely to get involved in.
Hey, on another note, Imran, have you heard of Minhajul Quran International?
I have indeed, yes.
Super.
Yes.
Listen, they're based in Rumford Road under the auspice of Dr. Tahir Al-Qadri. And basically, they've asked me to give you a heartfelt thank you for coming on. And I would really, really encourage you to maybe get in touch with the Minhaj. I mean, I've known Minhaj al-Quran for many years by way of a good brother of mine called Muhammad Ismail, and he talks about all of these social projects and how they fund them and how they basically are so active in the community. Who knows, but it might be something that you could possibly get involved with them. Your cause is absolutely phenomenal, and I think let's leave it on that note. Once again, brother, I can't thank you enough, and thank you from Minhaj al-Quran International 100% for taking your time to speak to us. Thank you from Anjum and Wasim, and
thank you, Imran.
I shall let you carry on.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam. MashaAllah, that was Imran from Salma Food Bank. I hope the listeners haven't heard that inspirational talk from Imran. Do basically look deep into their hearts, and if they've got any aspiration for any such social project, any such charitable project, they, Google Bearded Bros, get in touch with Imran, either contribute to his project or basically get him to oversee your project. He seems to be a most humble guy. And you know what, guys, both of you in our office, bear with me, listeners. I've made a blunder here. You can't see me. Okay, no worries. I've been standing, unfortunately. I've been told to sit down. I've been told off. So I'm going to sit down. Unfortunately, I have a back problem, and so from time to time I have to stand. But nonetheless, look, what I was saying was that if anybody aspires to do such charity work, I hope this half hour, 40 minutes has served to give you some inspiration, as it has inspired all of us in the studio. And you know what, I could listen to this chap all day long. He was just so passionate. Once again, Imran, if you're listening, buddy, subhanallah, thank you for calling in, and may Allah grant you a lot of ajr and give you strength, and all the volunteers that are engaged in Salma Food Bank, may Allah give them a lot of ajr. So we're going to take a bit of a break now, and then that'll lead us into the last 10 minutes of the show. And we'll talk a bit about, we'll finish off what we were talking about, the business side of things, and I wanted to introduce my next show on the 7th of June. So I'll see you on the other side of the commercials, inshallah.
Always ensure we maximize the full potential of your property. Call us now on 0208 952 0808 for a free no obligation quotation, or visit our website www.maxwellestates.co.uk for further information. Maxwell Estates, the name you can trust.
With over 25 years' experience in the East London area, there's no better firm to rely on than Cameron Adams Century 21 when it comes to properties. Be it lettings, property management or sales, we can assist you to ensure you get the most out of your property. Contact us on 0208 558 2000 for a free, no obligation valuation, and watch us do what we do best.
Grab your taste of luxury at Pink's Boutique. Designer brands like Hugo Boss and Armani to keep your style in check. Catering for ladies, men and kids, Pink's Boutique has it all under one roof. And we offer shipping worldwide, so get the look to fit your attitude. Visit us on our website at pinksboutique.co.uk. Remember, that's pnksboutique.co.uk. Or pop into our store at 302 Brentwood Road, Romford, RM2 5TA.
Ramadan FM 2018.
The voice of British Muslims.
European University of Business now offering BA Business Management, MBA with specialisation. Our courses are regulated by UK Quality Assurance Agency and taught in a highly professional environment. Special offer for Ramadan FM 2018 listeners only. Please call on 0203 288 3143. Email info@universityofbusiness.eu.
Solicitors in. You can expect a variety of services from us, ranging from family law, immigration, human rights, money claims, personal injury and many more. We are committed to providing you with the best legal advice suited to your individual circumstances. Drop us a call on 0203 500 8000. Our office is located at 62 Barking Road, East Ham, E6 3BP.
Why spend summer in your room when you can fly off to your dream destination with facilities like car hire and hotel bookings? Well, Flight Masters have got you covered. We offer holiday packages, city breaks and flights at the most reasonable prices with the best provision of services. So why delay? Call us today on 0203 598 9938 or visit our website at www.flightmasters.com.
Do you dream of traveling to those blessed lands where the beloved of Allah was born? Does your heart yearn for Medina, the city of the beloved? If it is your time to experience a spiritual journey words cannot justify, then join us at Sam Travel and Tours and book your Hajj and Umrah packages today. We offer group and tailor-made packages for all your requirements. Based on Rumford Road in London, for our last 10 days Umrah package, please call us on 0208 478 8911.
Ramadan FM 2018.
The voice of British Muslims.
MR Accountants provide a full range of accountancy and taxation services, including annual and management accounts, self-assessment, tax returns, VAT, bookkeeping and payroll services to all different types of businesses. With our in-house chartered accountants, you can be guaranteed to save money. Contact us now on 0203 432 9138.
कितनी बार कहा है कि घर को साफ
Hey guys, it's us back again. We're sort of in the dying moments of our allocated time. So I've got a question here, which Wasim and both Anjum have said it's probably a pertinent question to finish on. And then I want to go on to introduce my next show on the 7th of June. The question is, what would both of you, okay, and include myself, obviously, I'm a businessman as well, yeah, I can't forget myself. What would be the most valuable tip you can give someone starting up? Over to Anjum.
To me?
Yes.
There you go.
You see, you thought you were going to get away.
I know. I was getting ready.
I would say with anything, it's doing your groundwork.
Mm.
But I think the biggest thing, speaking from experience, is support. I think having the right people around you. I think, money is important, obviously. But obviously, if you're already in the mindset of starting a business, you've obviously probably overcome that hurdle to a point where you're ready to go. But I think your people, staff, and really your support network, I think that's really, really important from my own experience in having something that was a business that could probably get off the ground, that would have worked. But without the people and without having that network, I think that was really something that I if I was going to advise anybody. And obviously you've already got your idea, you know what you're going to do. All these things they come to you very early anyway around what you want to do. But I think the support element is very, very important because staff, and again in the beginning you're not going to have a lot of people, but if you have anybody, you really must make sure that they are on board with you, and and the direction. You go together. You can't pick people that take you off on a tangent, etc., because it just doesn't work. But I think that's my really think support, right people, and making sure that fit works really.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wasim, what's your sort of tip that you'd say?
Well, my tips really are very similar. Firstly, groundwork is to make sure that you do enough research in the business that you're thinking of doing. Yeah. And it's ideal, really, if you are working somewhere, you've got experience, you know that business, is to do that business. Sometimes people go into a new business and they've got no idea. Sure. Like I know people that have gone into restaurants and then the chef leaves and then they can't cook and they've got a big issue. So Absolutely. Go into a trade where you know how to handle it, you know how to do the business. And secondly is that personally I would say that once you decide you're going to do something, just do it. Again, I know people who thinking about it. I know people thinking the last 25 years, and now they're thinking, well, there's no point, it's too late. So I would say that if you think of something, you do your planning, and then just go for it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but at least you tried. Yeah. And hopefully it does work for you. Yeah. And also keep going. It does. When you do your own business, it's not easy. Some people say, "Oh, it's really easy," and you see all these successful people, and you think, "Wow, it's easy for them. They're sitting around doing this, and the business is running." But you don't know what hours they put into
what's
that.
What's going on in the background?
Yeah, you don't know what hours they put in initially, how hard they work. They're probably, again, not seeing their families, been working around the clock, the stress they're taking, and now they're obviously enjoying the benefits of that. But initially it's hard. So it's a case of, they've stuck to it, they've carried on, and they've persevered. So, have the right mindset and carry on with the business and put the effort in, and inshallah, hopefully it works for you.
Absolutely. I second everything that you guys have said. And I would like to echo something that Anjum said. The right sort of people are very, very important. And for me, it was my brother with his experience and financial backing. Alhamdulillah, I was able to sort of continue in business. And also the people. There are a few people that I could mention. I'd like to mention someone like Malik Ashfaq, who's a very dear friend of mine, and unfortunately his health hasn't been too well. He's had to undergo open heart surgery lately, and I do wish upon all the do call upon all the callers all the listeners to pray for him and remember him in your du'as. He's at the moment recovering well, and inshallah he will get from strength to strength. Then there's Nasir, who's been also a big pillar of my organization, and without these brothers, and you know what, also Zafar, Asma, and the non-Muslims, Jerome and Hannah and Daniel, without these people, it's very difficult to run your business, and all of them have been very good to me, very good to the business, and they're treated like their own. And I'd like to add probably, I'm sure Wasim and Anjum will probably appreciate this too, an equally important tip. In Islam, there is no extremities. You mustn't be extreme. And you know what's very, very important is your health. And what I found is this always on service or 24/7 on the go, it can really take a toll on your health. Yeah. And that really sort of manifests itself. And I mean, for myself, unfortunately, for the past 5 years, year on year, I've had some trials and tribulations with my health, and quite suddenly, without any warning, an onset of something or another, CAT scans and MRI scans and urine analysis and blood analysis, just doesn't really show up anything. And I guess it's all down to stress, the stress of working too hard for too long. So, whoever's out there, money is important, but your health is more important. So that's the most important tip that I can give you, that basically, don't run yourself down to the ground, and ensure that you look after yourself, you eat well, you rest well, and so on and so forth. And that leads on to, if it's okay with both Anjum and Wasim.
Yes.
I'm going to pass it over to Wasim and Anjum first, because they wanted to sort of say a few words, closing words, in thanking, I believe it was. But anyway, I'll pass it over to, who wants to start first?
But we'll put Wasim first this time.
Go on, Wasim. We're not prejudiced in any way.
Okay, finally, just like to thank Ramadan FM 2018 for allowing us to be here, be on this show and take part, and also Brother Imran from Birmingham, listening to him. So just like to thank everybody. Yeah.
And the same for me, really, thanking Ramadan FM, and obviously Kamran here, Wasim as well, who I don't see often enough. And it's really, really important actually that we come together like this and actually talk about some of these issues. And today's been a little bit around business, and we've touched upon some really, really important issues, especially around what Imran was talking about. And somebody like that, I feel is, it's very humbling listening to people like that, and especially, you can just imagine, being responsible for so many people as well, and what he gets involved with. So it really puts things into perspective. And I think, as with everybody here as well, I suppose we're thankful for our health and our families. And really, it's just a case of saying, inshallah, your du'as get answered.
I mean, hey, look, I guess I should really get the last word, really. I mean, I'm hosting the show, shouldn't I? Anyway, nonetheless, you know what it is. I wanted to really, really thank both Wasim and Anjum. And I don't know if I can say this on Ramadan FM. I mean, they really saved my bacon. You know what it is? As much as I like to sort of deny it, I mean, I had totally forgotten about I was hosting this show. I didn't
for 2 hours?
For 2 hours. For 2 hours, right.
For 2 hours, yeah.
And at the last moment, these brothers were able to come and aid me and help me in putting this show together. And I'm really humbled for both of them. I really thank them. And moreover, I thank Mohammed Ismail, for inviting me to do this. And Usman, who's helped me technically in this complicated, vast array of knobs and buttons and so on and so forth. And just a few words. And I really want to introduce to you my next show, and it interlinks with my last comment about the most important tip, and that being in regards to health. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I've had health issues, and one of the recent health issues that I've had to tackle is a herniated prolapse disc. Now, that last 6 months from November to March were the most depressing of my life. I couldn't sit, I couldn't stand. I was on such a variety of painkillers that weren't that effective. And what happened to me was I came across several different type of people, two broad categories of people. Those who would encourage you and give you the strength to carry on, and basically motivate you to carry on, and those who were extremely negative, and you found yourself even more depressive before you even met them. And what I found, that this back problem was a very, very common problem, and for my circumstances, the only solution was surgery. So I ended up having to go for back surgery in March. And alhamdulillah, 2 months later, exactly 2 months to the day, I'm recovering well. You might have noticed, if you're watching on live streaming, that I was standing up during the radio presentation, is because my back was getting aggravated. So the next show on the 7th of June between 5 and 7 p.m., I want to dedicate it to the back problem, a health issue that is so common. It's incredible. Everybody listening will at some stage had some sort of back pain, or spoken to someone who's suffering it, or has some sort of horror story about a back problem, and as a result of surgery, paralysis, and infections and so on and so forth. But look, the thing is this time round, it's not going to be myself who's just a dumb estate agent or claims to be a businessman. I've got for you as my guest Dr. Malik, Irfan Malik, who is a world-class surgeon. He has in the UK carried out more back surgeries than anybody in the country. He is the best at his job in this world, I think, and basically such that he actually now trains other surgeons on keyhole surgery and so on and so forth. So he'll be here on the 7th of June, and I really hope that those people who are suffering from back problems do call, do email us some questions, because like I said, it was a depressing time of my life where you couldn't turn anywhere. When you turned to your GP, he gave you a bunch of painkillers. When you went home, you were depressed, your family was depressed, your kids were depressed. It was just a horrible sort of set of circumstances. And I hope by bringing Dr. Malik to this platform, it'll be an opportunity to raise awareness, to talk to an expert in this field and see what solutions he can offer. So hopefully you will join me. And that just leaves me to conclude and thank once again profusely the organizers of Ramadan FM 2018, Usman, Ismail, and also equally importantly both Anjum and Wasim. And I will leave it at that, and I wish you all the best. May Allah accept your fast, and may Allah give you barakah in everything, and keep us in your du'as. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
6028 High Road, 7 Kings, Ilford, IG3 8